Here we are given this function sin raised to the power 101 divided by greatest integer function of x by pi plus half. Now whether this function is an even function or an odd function, etc., that we have to decide. Okay, so there is a small hint here. There is a greatest integer function here. Okay, so what is greatest integer function? So for example, greatest integer function of 3 is 3. This 3.1 is also 3. Right. Whatever is the integer which is less than or equal to this number, and that is the greatest integer. Greatest integer less than or equal to this x. Here it is 3. Here also it is 3, less than or equal to. Right. Now, if this one x by pi is an integer, let's say, is integer, whatever is the case, that means x is a multiple of pi. Right. X can be 2 pi, 3 pi, whatever. Likewise, x is a multiple of pi. If this is an integer, right? Whenever x is a multiple of pi, the numerator is automatically 0, right? Sin pi, sin 2 pi, sin 3 pi, sin 4 pi, these are all zeros, right? Whenever x is a multiple of pi, then this f of x is equal to 0, right? Multiple of pi, f of x equal to 0. Okay, so now one thing we are sure, whenever it is multiple of pi, f of x equal to 0. So let us try to understand this function when it is not a multiple of pi. Okay, when it's not a multiple of pi, that means x by pi will give some number like 3.1 or minus 4.6, anything. It will give some number. It will not give a direct integer. Right, whenever it is direct integer, the numerator itself is 0. We are not even worried about the denominator. Whenever this is not a perfect multiple of pi, then this one, x by pi, greatest integer function, will give some number like this. Okay, now let us see, let us try to observe something. Let's take x by pi as 3.1, and when minus x by pi will be equal to minus 3.1. Right, if x by pi is 3.1, minus x by pi will be minus 3.1. But we know 3.1 is 3, greatest integer function of 3.1 is 3, minus 3.1 is minus 4. Right, right. Minus 3.1 is minus 4. That means denominator, when if we take x, it will become what? If we take x, if it takes x as positive, then it will become 3 plus half. If we take x as negative, it is becoming minus 4 plus half, which is 3.5, which is minus 3.5. Okay. And here, when x is positive, if you see this one, this function, sin 101 x, it will be x by 3.5. When x is negative, it becomes minus sin 101 x by minus 3.5. Right, minus and minus will get cancelled. Basically, this function is getting equal to this function. Right, fantastic result, right? So f of x, basically what we have figured out, f of x is equal to f of minus x whenever x is not a multiple of pi. Right, so that means this is an even function. Right, f of x is equal to f of minus x whenever x is not a multiple of pi. So what is the result that we have used here? The result of this is, the result that is important for us is the x plus greatest integer of function of minus x is equal to minus 1. Right, whenever x is not an integer. For example, greatest integer function of 3.6 plus minus 3.6, this will be equal to 3. This will be equal to minus 4, which is equal to minus 1. Similarly, even if you take x positive, it negative doesn't matter. So even if you take this as x, then this becomes minus x, it will still give the same result. For example, x as minus 2.5, minus x will become 2.5. Okay, so what is the result? This is minus 3 and this is plus 2, which is equal to minus 1. So we know greatest integer function of x plus greatest integer function of minus x is always equal to minus 1 as long as x is not an integer. Right, as long as x is not an integer, it is always equal to minus 1. Now, when x is an integer, sorry, x is a multiple of this pi, then we realized that this is an integer. So, and whenever x is a multiple of pi, the numerator is itself is 0, so we are not concerned. When x is not a direct multiple of pi, then that means x by pi plus minus x by pi should be equal to minus 1. What does that mean? Sin when for for now let's assume x is greater than 0. So f of x would be equal to sin 101 x by pi plus 1 plus half. F of minus x will be sin 101 minus x by minus x by pi plus half. But minus x by pi is minus 1 minus x by pi. Right? We can write this as minus 1 minus x by pi. Right? So this one is equal to minus 1 minus this. Right? So now what does that mean? Minus 1 plus half is minus half. Right? Minus 1 plus half is minus half. Basically, we have minus half minus x by pi. What does that mean? Minus half into 1, sorry, minus 1 into half plus x by pi. It's in the function of x by pi. Right? So this one, sine of minus x raised to an odd power. This is minus sine, right? Minus sine 101 x by minus half plus reduced into the function of x by pi. This and this will get cancelled. Basically, f of x is equal to f of minus x. Very simple. First, we try to prove this using some number, which is using some number like 3.1 or minus 3.1 whatsoever. Now we have generalized this. Right? Whenever x by pi is not an integer, this one is equal to minus of this one. Right? The sum of this is equal to minus of again this one. Right, and there will be a minus in the numerator also. So basically what we have proved, f of x is equal to f of minus x when x is not a multiple of pi. Whenever x is a multiple of pi, f of x is anyway 0. That again means f of x equal to f of minus x, right? Sorry, f of minus x, because it's anyway 0, it doesn't matter. Right, so it's an even function. Even function. Obviously, it cannot be both even and odd. If it has to be even and odd, what does that mean? F of x equal to f of minus x should be equal to minus of f of x. Right. If this has to happen, that means f of x should be 0 always. Right. Otherwise, it cannot happen, right? F of x should be equal to f of minus x. At the same time, minus f of x. Only when it is 0, it will happen. So, and we clearly seen that it is not an odd function. We have seen that this is an even function. So, B is the correct answer. Right, guys?